Hey folks, how you doing? This is Wayne S. Pierce for the American Liberty Radio Network. This is the 23rd of July. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? It's wonderful if you can talk without getting all phlegmy. It's Sunday. I'm going to take it a little easy today. A little coffee. Yes. It's the AM of the 23rd of July 2017, and I need my coffee. Hey, just want to give a big shout out to Mr. Tom Slick over at Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. He moved his operation from California out to the East Coast, specifically, well, to the Southeast. Specifically to Georgia. So he's out there now. I got word that soon, hopefully, he says that soon he will be back up with the morning brew. And so they're looking forward to getting back on the air with that show and the rest of the shows that are on Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. So go give him some love. Will you go to 926theblitz.rocks? It's ROCKS. 926theblitz.rocks. Tell Mr. Tom Slick that Wayne Pierce over at American Liberty Radio Network sent you. Yes, don't know what that'll get you. Probably a cup of coffee. I don't know. Anyway. 92.6 The Blitz.rocks. Anyway. Want to give another shout out to Mr. Brian Lang over at Live Truth Radio and Television. Yes, livetruthradio.com. Go check him out as well. There's a lot going on. The widow of Mr. Chester Bennington, his wife, is saying that she has proof that he was murdered. Well, there's two things I want to say to that. First, bring the proof out and let's find out who did this and let's arrest them, prosecute them, and throw their asses in jail. Or, if she has proof, I would think that she would have to, for her own safety, leave and go into hiding, but have someone, with her and show the proof. The reason why I say that is because yesterday I mentioned a couple of names in Hollywood, Corey Feldman and Elijah Wood, who have come out and said that, yes, there is pedophilia in Hollywood. It's just rampant all over the place as far as producers and directors, and it's all in that arena of production companies and all that. So I'm not saying this. Corey Feldman, Elijah Wood, and many others have come out and are kind of hesitant to say it, but stuff is going on. Jim Carrey has come out and said that Illuminati runs, Hollywood, and other people have come out, left Hollywood after many years, and moved elsewhere and are saying the same thing, all of that. But the proof is in the pudding, let's say, as you've heard that old adage. And the fact of the matter is that we have to stop this. Now, is it ever going to stop completely? Well, we the people need to make sure it does. Because these are children and child actors that we're talking about. There's other people probably involved. There's, many, many different things. Hollywood is a cesspool of, a complete indecency in terms of, damaging character, recruiting and all of this. I mean, there is so much stuff going on down there. This is one of the reasons why over 15 years ago I never wanted to go to Hollywood to make it big, because I knew what was going on down there. I knew, back then. And this is close to 20 years now. I mean, it literally became a dream of mine in the 80s to be a singer, songwriter, be an actor, do all that, and go from there. And when I started in the business, as they say, I thought, well, Hollywood is the place to go. Hollywood is it. Hollywood is the place, right? A lot of people that I knew who went there, and have done things and came back and whatever, just did little things, weren't in major things, did commercials, stuff like that for, a few years, but then left and came back to the hometown, Stockton, where I lived, or Reno, where I was when I got into acting, said, don't go there. Don't go there. They were telling me it was, and this is back in the late 80s, early 90s. And they were telling me, don't go there. So I thought, well, I wonder why. Let me find out for myself. Well, I did. And it's a cesspool. It's just, there is so much stuff there that and I don't talk about Hollywood much, and I don't talk about, my background in theater and all that much because, well, I just don't. But with everything going on now in Hollywood, with everything coming out slowly, bit by bit, with James Woods talking about what he talks about, Jim Carrey talks about what he talks about, Corey Feldman, Elijah Wood. There's many others that won't come forward. Some women have said, women actors, well-known actresses, have literally said that, yes, there is all sorts of stuff going on down there. And my point is, why are we putting up with this? Why are we the people putting up with this? There is no reason why we have to allow that to continue. Now, what are we going to do? I don't know. Let's figure it out. Let's open it up for discussion. Let's figure it out. And, oh, by the way, do not call the federal government, the FBI, or whatever, because just don't. Let's figure this out on our own. Let's get independent counsels. Let's get independent, attorneys, pro bono, whatever, and let's figure this out. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the biggest push at the Cannes Film Festival and the Tribeca Film Festival in New York and the other one in Colorado, Sundance, if you are ever connected to that, or if you're connected to that and you can vouch for this, I'm telling you right now, independent films, independent of all the major film makers and film studios, independent films are the way to go. Independent music is the way to go. Independent anything outside of the mainstream is the way to go. And if you don't believe me, go look at YouTube. Go look at YouTube and vloggers and all of that. I just recently started vlogging. Go look at all of that. Go look at independent networks like mine, American Liberty Radio Network. Go look on Spreaker.com, on TalkShoe.com, on BlogTalkRadio.com. Look at all the independent stuff that is out there. Hollywood is a cesspool of rattlesnakes and predators and you name it. I mean, I can probably go to LA right now for 1 week and point out who the predator and who the preys are. This is how well versed I am in finding out this stuff. Much like I am finding out who's behind the curtain, pushing the buttons and pulling the handles in government. Because I've spent my time researching this. Going back to the late Chester Bennington's wife, saying that he was murdered and she has proof. Well, bring it forward. Now, here's another piece of this puzzle. Even though this is being churned out and being worked on, and okay, if this is the case and all of this, here's another piece of the puzzle. You have people out there saying this is all BS. That he wasn't murdered, that he hung himself, that he was depressed. That's all mainstream. And you see that. Same thing with Chris Cornell. Same thing. You know, it was depression. It was this. It was that. I'm not denying that people are depressed. I'm not denying that people do feel a little down now and then. I do. You do. We all do. But do we go as far as taking ourselves out of life? I don't know. That's just stupid. We need to work through it, you know, barrel through it, get on with our day. Right? But when the mainstream media looks at popular people such as Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington of, you know, Soundgarden and Linkin Park, respectively, two big rock groups, when the mainstream media looks at that and just lays out this blanket statement of, well, it was they suffered from depression and, you know, whatever. No. Something is not quite right. Something with my experience in research and my abilities in, let's just say, understanding the energies that are involved in all of this, something doesn't smell right. Something just isn't right about any of this. When you start looking at the paper trails, quote unquote, when you start looking at what's behind the scenes and what these people were involved with, and it doesn't have to be Chris Cornell or Chester Bennington, it could be anybody. Give you a prime example. The Clinton cabal, the people that come out and wanted to blow the whistle on Hillary Clinton and her foundation and all of this and everything going on there, they're all mysteriously dead. Why? Is there a connection? We need to discuss this. If Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington were finding information connecting the Clintons to murders and all of this, and they were taken out, we need to find out. That's just the way it is. That is the, you know, that is what we need to do. We need to find out. So, my condolences go out to both families of Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington. But we need to find out what really went on. That's just the way it is. If we are so curious as to why certain things are the way they are, well, this should be at the top of the list. I'm just, you know, it's a discussion that we have to have because things are not so rosy, okay? Things are not so rosy. I'm not kidding you. Okay? It's just, I don't know. We need to check it out. We need to check everything out. Everything. We need to check it all out. And, I mean, why not? I'll just ask that. Why not? Okay. This is unusual that I would ever do a ALRN podcast on a Sunday. So, yeah. Chris Menahan over at Information Liberation, 23rd July 2017. Julian Assange, WikiLeaks founder. Quote, CIA not only armed Syria's insurgents, it paid their salaries, unquote. Assange said they buried the lead. And that's a quote. WikiLeaks, Julian Assange is continuing to attempt to take down America any way he can, but by accurately reporting the truth. Let me just add that, because that's the whole line. I mean, the mainstream will stop right there. WikiLeaks, Julian Assange continues his attempt to take down America any way he can, which is in quotes, by the way, but the mainstream will stop right there and say that. But it goes on to say, by accurately reporting the truth. Okay, just want to add that because it's there. I'll put this on American Liberty Radio podcast. Saturday on Twitter, Assange highlighted an article from Thursday where the Financial Times noted how many Syrian rebels were getting salaries from the CIA. Assange said they, quote, buried the lead, unquote. And it shows the picture right there. And there you go. At the Aspen Security Forum on Thursday, CIA Director Mike Pompeo said, quote, WikiLeaks will take down America any way they can and find any willing partner to achieve that end, unquote. That's the CIA Director, Mike Pompeo, talking about Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, saying that they are anti-American. Julian Assange tweets again, what sort of America can be, quote unquote, taken down by the truth? It's a good question, Julian. What's your answer? The article goes on to say, to be fair, leaking is a major problem, specifically the leaking to overthrow our democratically elected president by deep state cronies who are using America's massive spy apparatus, which was supposed to be used against foreigners, to sabotage our president through targeted leaks to their accomplices in the controlled media. It's understandable Pompeo doesn't want the CIA to be leaking like a sieve, but let's look at some of these recent leakers. Bradley Manning. This is a quote. Bradley Manning leaked information on U.S. war crimes in the neocon war of Iraq. Snowden leaked information on the U.S. spying apparatus being used domestically against Americans rather than against foreigners, as promised. Reality winner, I don't know who would name their kid that, was a stupid little girl who should have never been hired if the government still had basic standards and wasn't more interested in hiring in the name of diversity rather than ability. That's in quotes, by the way. When you have a multicultural society, that's in quotes, multicultural, I'm going to stop right here, and I want to put this on American Liberty Radio, because there's a video involved in this as well. Let me just say multicultural. The word multicultural should never be applied to the current standard of the United States of America. Never. Why? I'll tell you why. It's real simple. Because multiculturalism for any country is the nail in the coffin to peace, freedom, liberty, and security. Multiculturalism is the banner for open border people who want the borders open. They want this, they want that. That's what it is, okay? Multiculturalism is destructive in the current state of the United States of America, the current state of being of the United States of America. Dictionary.com says it's an adjective, says of, relating to, or representing several different cultures or cultural elements. Multicultural, British dictionary definitions for multicultural, adjective, consisting of, relating to, or designed for the cultures of several different races. Word origin, also multicultural, 1941, from multi plus cultural. At first often in Canadian context, picked up by U.S. education writers in 1980s, widespread popular use from circa 1990. So it's a recent developed word, developed in terms of manufactured word. Okay, so this article, because it has a video on there, is going on American Liberty Radio podcast. Everybody should be aware of their surroundings. Everybody should be aware of their surroundings. Specifically, when your own city where you live supports anything to do with multiculturalism and specifically Sharia law. Okay? I'm going to put this on there too. Globalist agenda to overthrow Western society exposed. David Knight, Infowars.com, 22nd of July, 2017. There's a video there. Put that on American Liberty Radio podcast. Like I said, it's unusual for me to even do a podcast on Sundays. I usually just take the day off. But, I've seen lots of stuff in the last 24 to 48 hours, and it's really disturbing. The one thing that I have found, which and you guys can you guys can take it from here. The one thing that I have found is that when people look at things, when they examine what's going on, and when they get to the truth, I'm going to admit it's hard to believe. I'm serious. When people get to the truth and find it, and there it is, staring you in the face, it's hard to believe. It really is. And I find it incredibly odd that people will not. Once they are confronted with the truth and the facts, they will not or cannot or completely deny the fact that they should do some more research. And I've done that. I mean, I've come to several conclusions that I've had to go, wait a minute, I have to look back on this and make absolutely sure this is what I'm looking at. Well, generally speaking, that's what we all should do. Shouldn't we? I mean, it's only the smart thing to do, don't you think? Wouldn't it help to look at the evidence and say, hey, here's this, but something's fishy, and so I'm going to dig some more. Yes, 1 + 1 = 2. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, that politician said this, but something just isn't quite right in that whole back and forth. Because you know damn well that the mainstream propaganda media selects certain sound bites to promote their own liberal agenda. You know this. This is evident all over the place. And it happens. So when you focus your attention on something that just isn't quite right, even though you know the truth and the facts, that's a good day to start questioning things. When you focus your attention on what just doesn't make any sense, even though you got the truth and facts right there in front of you, something just isn't quite right. That's a good day to start investigating and researching. It is. And I'm one of those people where I'm not satisfied until I know for a fact that 1 + 1 = 2. I'm only using that as an example, but I'll get right down to it and just say, here this is, this is what it is. The grass is green. Your house is painted brown. You've got your car in the front yard on the driveway. Okay, that's fact because I see that. Okay. Fact is your engine light went off. Why? Well, let's figure it out. Let's take it to a mechanic and let's find out why. I mean, that's the smart thing to do. Do you not think that it is? So if you've got the truth and the facts staring you in the face, but something just doesn't feel right to you, is there something not quite right about what you see? Dig like you've never dug before, man. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think people should stop digging. I've been doing it since Jimmy Carter was president of the United States back from 76 to 1980. And I've never stopped. And I'm learning something new every day, which is kind of cool. I like that. And I look back on some of the stuff back then, and even in the 80s and the 90s through the Clinton administration, I look back on that stuff and go, wow, I was right when I made my assessment on this. Back in the 90s, I didn't have a show on the internet. I didn't have anything. I was telling people, I was handing people stuff. Look what I found. This is, hey, wow. You know, and even back then, people were calling me a conspiracy theorist. And I'm just like, really? Seriously? The truth and the facts are staring you in the face, and you still want to accuse me of being a conspiracy theorist? Really? That right there began my process of understanding that people will never, ever, ever, ever accept the truth and the facts unless it is within their own little delusional paradigm. Yes, I said delusional because I'm using that as to signify that people take what they believe, an illusionary thought, a part of their imagination, and they're just tearing it apart to only grab out of it what they want instead of seeing it for what it is. And relating that to all of the political stuff happening around all over the world, specifically in Washington, D.C. If someone says, well, we have to let the politicians be politicians and do what they do to help America, that right there is a delusional thought. Because they have never done their research. They have never investigated anything. They have never done, any digging deeper than the surface. And they believe everything the mainstream propaganda media tells them. So, yeah, of course, their little paradigm, their little personal space is filled with preconceived delusional ideas of what they think everything is, and they'll tell you, oh, it's fine. Everything's fine. No, it's not. Okay? So I'm going to go to break. I'll be back. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. You can find me there. If you have anything to say, please let me know. American Liberty Radio Podcast on Facebook. Check it out, or at American Liberty Radio on gab.ai. Let me know what you think, man. American Liberty Radio at USA.com is the email address. American Liberty Radio at USA.com. Be right back right after this.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Growing up terrestrial radio, the future is here. Destroying the liberal media one truth bomb at a time. Independent media is shattering the liberal national security media into a million pieces. Their views of the world are based on the script the government gives them. Independent media seeks out and finds the truth and reports on what is truly going on behind the scenes. Support the truth and facts. Support independent media. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. The reality underneath the honesty. LiveTruthRadio.com. Check out Late Night in the Midlands with your host Michael Vera at LateNightInTheMidlands.com, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Go to LateNightInTheMidlands.com. The world as we know it has been turned upside down. The leaders are faced with possible annihilation from their enemies. The United States is at the brink of a total collapse. This is the reality we live in. What can be done? The truth, the facts. American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Turn the sound down and hey, I'm back. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. How are you today? This is the 23rd of July 2017. How are you? Are you good? It's unusual that I would do a podcast on Sunday. I usually take a day off, but within the last 24 to 48 hours, holy crap. Oh, man. Where do you get your news from? Your quote-unquote news? I mean, what's the first thing you do in the morning? Because, I get up in the morning, first thing I do is go to Facebook. And then if there's any interesting articles or any headlines that look interesting, I read them. I read the headlines, and then later on read the article. And sometimes I read the article to you, and that's the first time I probably have ever seen or read the article. I've seen it, I posted it, but I never read it. So the first time I read it is sometimes, is when I read it to you guys. Interesting to note that we see a lot of stuff coming out of the UK. Did you notice that? We see a lot of information about the United States of America coming out of the media in the UK. Is that strange or what? The Daily Mail is reporting on the 23rd of July 2017, White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci plans to delete past tweets. Like that's a big deal. Misquoted Mark Twain, supported Hillary, and called for increased gun control. Doesn't want to be a quote-unquote distraction. Too late, Mr. Scaramucci. You are a distraction. Wall Street financier, he's a money man. Wall Street financier Anthony Scaramucci stated on Saturday afternoon that he will be deleting his tweets from years past in an act of, quote-unquote, full transparency. See the irony there, folks? You just think, full transparency, but I'm going to delete everything I've said. You see you see the irony there, folks? Since Scaramucci, also known as Mooch, took on his new role as communications director to the president, his social media has been scoured by the public, and many of his tweets dated back to 2011 were ridiculed by Twitter users, including advocating for gun regulations, endorsement of Hillary Clinton, and misquoting Mark Twain. Scaramucci hopes to avoid distraction by scouring his account. Many of his tweets dating back to 2011 reveal views that are not so consistent with his current role in the White House, as many Twitter users were quick to point out. In December of 2011, he praised Governor Mitt Romney for staying out of the Trump spectacle. In February of 2012, proclamation, he claims President Trump an odd guy who is so smart with no judgment. When he took to the podium on Friday to address reporters in regards to his new role in the White House, he flattered the president with compliments to his character. Yeah. I'm just going to put that. It says read more, so I'm going to put that up there for you guys to read more. American Liberty Radio Podcast. Can you say hypocrite? I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there, folks. You know, just laying it on the line for you. Oh, God. Now, we had Sean Spicer, which I really didn't want to get into this the other day, but 21st of July 2017, Infowars.com. Sean Spicer resigns. White House press secretary announces resignation. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer has resigned after learning of President Trump's decision to appoint New York financier Anthony Scaramucci as communications director. The New York Times reports President Trump wanted Spicer to stay on, but Spicer thought the appointment as Scaramucci was a mistake. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. There's a couple of videos there you guys need to... I would like you guys to take a look at. Yeah, can you say hypocrite? Can you say irony? Can you say, whatever. Let's give the guy, some time, see how he fits into the scheme of things. This Anthony Scaramucci. Yeah. A lot of mainstream, articles from the mainstream propaganda media are saying that Trump's popularity is declining. I doubt that very seriously. Now, all I can say is when you look at this stuff, when you examine everything, the truth is going to come out. The truth is going to come out. Okay? I just do not know. I don't know how you cannot see the truth in all of this or want to see the truth in all of this. Yahoo News is reporting in the health section 3 ways you can lose your Social Security benefits. Well, that's interesting. I'm going to put that up on the American Liberty Radio podcast because, hey, there are people out there who are on Social Security and disability and all of that, and this is important to them. Okay? Because I can tell you right now, the more money that is taken in through taxes and all of that is being used for the capital expenses of Washington, D.C., and it's not, no. just not. There are, I'm still at yahoo.com looking around. Let's go to the news section of yahoo.com. As soon as my browser decides it wants to work. Can Trump sabotage the Trump-Russia probe? That's what it says. Bob Bauer, former White House counsel under President Obama, talks with Rachel Maddow about what happens to the Trump-Russia investigation if Trump, let me click on it and go from there, if Donald Trump tries to go after Robert Mueller or the investigation itself. Okay. Just want to put that out there. I give you everything. Okay. Everything is there. Everything is in front of you. I'm giving you all of, Yahoo is to me, Yahoo News, Yahoo.com and all that is bent more to the liberals than anything else. They're not even close to being fair in their assessment on what's going on. And let me go over here and click that off. Get off of Yahoo. But I wanted to give this to you. There's an ad that plays automatically and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, yeah. So let's go back to Infowars.com. Americans protest very fake news CNN outside the Atlanta headquarters. Yes, they do. Trump on new aircraft carrier urges military funds boost. Quote, call that congressman and call that senator and make sure you get it, unquote. Trump slams illegal leak alleging Sessions discuss campaign with Russian envoy. Quote, these illegal leaks like Comey's must stop, unquote. Oh, get this. California judge refuses to bring back Trump sanctuary cities ban. Well, let's take a look at that one. This is on Infowars.com. You can go find that. As a matter of fact, let me... since I read those headlines, I'm going to post those on American Liberty Radio podcast for you guys to check out. The strange thing that I find, and this is just from my own perspective, the strange thing that I find with people looking at this news that's out there from the propagandists in the mainstream, the one thing that I found is that, one, the propagandists don't care what they say because now it's, they don't care. And the people that listen to it don't care, and they take it as gospel, and they think that everything, that must be it, then Trump's a bad guy. I just don't get it myself, personally. Honestly, I don't get why people don't... Whoops. I may boo-boo. Sorry. I don't get why people literally want to ignore the obvious. That's my point of that little mini rant right there. I don't get why... I don't get why people want to ignore the obvious. And the obvious literally is that there are a lot of people who are wrong. I'm not kidding you. There are a lot of people who are completely wrong. Now, I know I said in the past, no one is completely wrong and no one is completely right. I understand that. But when it is staring you in the face, when it's there and you know damn well these people are wrong, there's no avoiding it. Fox News is reporting California judge refuses to bring back Trump's sanctuary cities ban 21st July 2017 in a seeming act of defiance toward the Trump administration. A federal judge in San Francisco has refused to reinstate the president's sanctuary cities order. The bold move to not reinstate President Donald Trump's executive order, which sought to slash funding to cities that limit cooperation with federal immigration authorities, comes amid a battle between the State Department and local governments across the country over the edict from Washington. The U.S. Department of Justice had asked U.S. District Court Judge William Orrick to reverse his own injunction in April against Trump's executive order. The injunction was issued in response to lawsuits by San Francisco and Santa Clara County in California. Attorney General Jeff Sessions wrote a memo in May saying the executive order should be applied narrowly to a small number of grants and to very specific violations of immigration law. The memo said cities that, quote, willfully refuse to comply, unquote, with federal law could lose grants from the Justice and Homeland Security departments, but not other federal funding. One word, folks. Blackmail. Reverse blackmail. In other words, you follow the executive order, you get whatever you want in grants. But as Attorney General Jeff Sessions says, we need to zero in on certain areas and certain groups of people and certain grants to block these sanctuary cities from growing. In other words, they don't want sanctuary cities. People in America don't want sanctuary cities. But the government, under globalist rule, want every illegal to be in a sanctuary city and not prosecuted for being here illegally. That's the bottom line. So that's going up on American Liberty Radio because it says read more. That's going up on American Liberty Radio podcast for all you to take a look at, if you would please. Thank you very much. Your support for American Liberty Radio Network is very important, and I couldn't do it without you. Thank you. Appreciate that. If you're not able to financially support American Liberty Radio Network with your contributions or become a patron on the website, then like and share the podcast page, American Liberty Radio Podcast, or American Liberty Radio on gab.ai, and tell people about American Liberty Radio Network. But if you're able to advertise on the network, if you would like to advertise on the network, the opportunity is there. Or if you would like to contribute in some way, shape, or form, the opportunity is there. Go to AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. Go to the sponsors page. All the information is right there. I'm not out to break your advertising budget. And if you want to become a patron, there's a link there. If you want to contribute by PayPal, there's a link there as well. And I thank you folks for considering it and being able to support American Liberty Radio Network in whatever manner you see fit. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, God. I want to remind you, actually, that Nick Tucker at Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker is taking a little hiatus. You know, he's spending time with his family, doing all that. I mean, come on. You know, you gotta spend time with your family. I do also want to let you know that on The Truth Experience, I believe it's, I don't know. I got to get back with him because we're tossing around some days when I can get him on the show. But I'm going to have Nick Tucker on The Truth Experience again to weed out some of the rumors in you know, what's going on in Washington, D.C., and we're going to get specific and deal, you know, discuss some of the issues that are there, glaring, you know, infractions of politicians, and we're gonna discuss sanctuary cities and why they are terrible for anybody. We're going to discuss the globalist intervention in American politics to bring down America and all that. We're going to discuss all that. So as soon as I can get him we can nail down a day to do it for him, because he's got a family. He does stuff, okay? So when we can nail down that day, I will definitely let you know, and that's Mr. Nick Tucker over at Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker. His past podcasts are on American Liberty Radio Network if you want to listen to them and all of that, and also you can catch them here, actually, on American Liberty Radio Network. And lots of things are going on. That's why I'm going to have Nick Tucker on the show. I'm probably going to have, hopefully, cross my fingers, next week, hopefully, not this coming week, not tomorrow, but next week, hopefully I can get Brian Lang on the show for about a half hour, and we can discuss what's happening with, what's happening in Ohio with all of that, and his, his continued efforts to bring Extortion 17 to the forefront of the media and to keep that in, the rotation and all of that. And so hopefully I'll get Brian Lang on for at least a half hour to discuss that. Hopefully there's just so much going on that I want to get so many different people on. So hopefully I can manage to do all this. So I'll let you know when I can get Nick Tucker on this coming week, and it'll be on the American Liberty Radio podcast, as well as The Truth Experience on Facebook, The Truth Experience. And just a little side note about The Truth Experience. I'm bringing that back live for now on a weekly basis, not on, it's going to be one day a week. Yeah, it's going to be live one day a week. I haven't figured out what day it is yet that I'm going to have it live, but I will bring it back live one day a week. It might rotate during the week. So, it's going to be live during the week. So I'm probably going to start doing that maybe in August, probably around August 1st. That's on a Tuesday, I think. So hopefully I can get that back on live. But anyway, what a day. What a day. Go check out Mr. John Christopher J-Man Collins. John Christopher J-Man Collins at thetruthwar.net. Go check him out as well. Tell that young man I sent you guys over there. thetruthwar.net with John Christopher J-Man Collins. So check that out. One last article that I want to discuss a little bit before we end today's podcast. The Daily Caller on the 23rd of July 2017, that's today. GOP billionaire says doctors should have killed baby Trump. Trump is, quote, this is what a GOP billionaire says, quote, abortion of a human being. Trump is an abortion of a human being. Healthcare billionaire and GOP donor Mike Fernandez said Thursday that had he been a doctor at the time, he would have killed President Donald Trump as a baby. Trump is, quote, an abortion of a human being. If I was a doctor and knew what that baby Trump would do, I'd have made sure it never would have seen the light of day, unquote, Fernandez says. Like many other GOP members, Fernandez joins the Never Trump protest during the election and put more than $3.5 million into anti-Trump ads in 2016. He also donated $3 million to former candidate Jeb Bush's campaign. After Trump's election, Fernandez, the chairman of MBF Healthcare Partners, left the GOP saying, quote, I'm out of the political process. Too disgusted, too expensive, too supportive of egomaniacs whose words have the value of quicksand, unquote. Well, good riddance to you, you piece of crap. Put that on American Liberty Radio Network. Now, anybody who is so anti-Trump, so anti-anything in terms of what this president is doing, and anybody who says, well, if I was a doctor back then, I would have aborted him. To me, that's a traitor. To me, that is a sick individual with mental issues that should not even be a doctor. Okay? It's a tragedy that millions of babies are aborted every year. And this man has the gall, has the guts, has the balls to even come out and say that if he was a doctor back then, he would have murdered this baby called Donald J. Trump. This guy should have his medical license and practice pulled immediately, right now, this minute. The Justice Department needs to go in and pull everything, pull all of his records, if he's part of a research group and if he's part of a partnership, yeah, they should all be investigated by the medical boards, by the FBI, by anybody, by the Justice Department, you name it. This guy should be nailed to the freaking wall. Let's see what's wrong with him. Why he's now, of course, people are saying, well, he lives in America. He can say whatever he wants. Under free speech, he has a free speech to say he can kill anybody he wants. Not that he's going to go do it. Really? When there is such animosity against Trump from the anti-Trumpers, from Antifa, from social justice warriors, do you think that out of 100 people who are anti-Trump, do you think even one of them has even thought about picking up a gun and going assassinating President Trump? Yes, that has happened. It is out there. Go do the research. People have already have done that, have attempted to do that. These people who are anti-Trump, Antifa, social justice warriors, anti-American, anti-capitalism, anti-everything, and want to destroy the United States of America need to be arrested, charged with treason, and thrown into prison. And if that's not enough, they need to be put down like rabid dogs. What? Kill these people? I'm talking figuratively, folks. Do anything you can to stop these people because they're nothing but just they're termites, folks. They destroy things. Do you understand? Their mental health is in question, and all they want is to destroy the United States of America. And they're being supported by the likes of George Soros and the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the Bilderberg Group and the CFR and the Trilateral Commission. Can I go down the list and just tell you who these people are funded by? Did you know that over 60% of your drug cartel or your drug dealers, your gangs in America, did you know that about 60% of them have been infiltrated by federal government agents and are now either in control or supporting those drug dealers in America? Did you know? It's up to 60%, the last figure I saw a couple of years ago. Could be more now. Remember Fast and Furious, which has just changed names. It's still doing the same thing. But I don't think Attorney General Jeff Sessions is allowing any of that to happen now. I don't know. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know, folks. We got to take a look at all this stuff. We have to examine everything that's out there. We have to put everything in perspective and say, okay, what's the real deal here? We can talk figuratively, we can talk literally, we can talk metaphorically, but still, what is the real deal here? What is behind the curtain? Who's pushing the buttons and pulling the handles? This is what we have to find out. I don't care who you are. This is what we have to find out. I'm going to go, folks. This is the 23rd of July, 2017. This is the American Liberty Radio Network on Spreaker.com and on Gab.ai and Facebook at American Liberty Radio Podcast. American Liberty Radio on Spreaker.com, sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS.